Beşiktaş'a la.
Hello, Anand. Attı menen çıktı. Yonki mena go mudu.
오바데.
Anan go mudu.
고기민데, 나 고기도.
나 거기도.
Hello.
헬로.
거기도 깰라.
Bati mudu karichi na desu. Ndi sen kali. Hello.
헬로, 헬로.
깰레.
Tama to karkate. Ine yonki jora tato. Karkate to korcho. Ngate di pido yam. Hello, Anand.
헬로, 헬로, 계시다.
Yani English na cheko.
Hasa bir şey denerim hadi.
To tinga nga kakache. Tete. Ota tingo nero koto tikan chizo kundu di. Tani nyima. Hello.
헬로, 계시다.
Ka.
Ana seni mara.
Ana ine jamba chita ni ugura. Te samu korichita. Arika to le shade ine ya. Timi do ke ko mutta. Danga sen temo sun tondir. Te jina ka shaido. Te da yimbo de. Ndo karichi ine yimbo.
Boş. Hello.
헬로.
Oh, dalle son.
배송해.
Ah, dalle son. Konda ta ko mudu.
라스.
Keçiye tanju mertebe.
Ke de chunjure shakata ni. Hello, come in 친구 고시다.
나 고기도 해. 여보 고기도. 고기민도 간주.
Gela koki mingdu.
Hello.
단다 거기도 계시라.
Kogido.
Lele. Tiborin gado de ngazandi michile so yan di chulo ke tang de yang ko mu do.
그래서
좀들아.
Re.
그게
좀
fen 거였어.
아,
그게 fen 거였어.
와이파이.
응.
와이파이인데.
어디 봐. 아티가는 소문 보자. 야. 나 GP 줘야지 되는데. 오늘 다 맞아보지. 어떤데? 다.
Hello.
단 거기도
Ana
계시라.
sigursi ko mu do.
다티 보자. 다티야.
Ah,
맞아요. 다시 손보다.
다시 선보든. 너.
어.
대요.
Hello?
Hello, hello,
Hello.
hello,
Tuta basha.
hello.
Tales.
Lesson.
Ala so konda tati porti yabu gishu amara shivon ko do te komo mansam.
So Geshe is apologizing because it took some time since they don't know exactly how to work with the volume. At first they couldn't hear us and then they could hear us in a very low voice, so they tried to turn the volume up. So now everything is set up.
Ala so tinita yang ngaso kadang yang sa pasale. O tanga di ma zindan ro tang de chora ti kande de che ni ka du ani di jong tagara panam chini do yang chi ndeshe jap tang kan kar kar du me a tindi kan chi ke je che chi ka ti kan ina.
Mm. Geshe wants to ask, remember on Friday, he asked whether you're satisfied with the current teachings or if you would like to see some changes, whether it is in regards to the text, if we'd like to study another text, or if this text is fine, or about the teaching methodology, if you have any suggestions or would like any changes. Have you given it any thought?
Yeah, so for me, it's the first time I come. So, and I think I'm the only one here today, so I cannot give any feedback there.
There's also don't worry, there's also some people on Zoom.
Okay.
Thank you though. If you keep on coming, then you can still submit your suggestions.
Hey Anna, we gave the feedback on the weekend already. Me and Vincent, we are both here.
Okay, so you wrote them an email or on Facebook?
No, I directly talked to Anila and Geshe.
Okay. Laso. Ta riga tam Vincent kiranda nyamdo kecha yugire.
Ala sa. Ga ni mi se tumbason.
Ale peche Geshe gel. Riga, did you talk with Geshe Sonam or Geshe Gelsen?
With Geshe Gyaltsen and Tenzin.
Laso. Ta ani tenzin rebe. Ale ani chören dan Geshe Gelsen dan nyamdo kecha yugire. Re.
Tana ngasun di tana di ola ma panam chin drona tana di deno sumda di joja kodere to so yang chik tes chakpo do yung tun ko khapon do tini desre do yang to ti kanji ka yo na se to sha yamnan ma tis ro go ira kandi nas.
Piche tamutin eduna diksare tanda jibo gyabna ngazo jibo gyabgo yana piche tambo ngazo tangi shigenze ani choren nyamno chom ani ngazo nyamno kechashera da lojo
Loso,
konzu dan shingi yomareba.
loso. Dirisha, Dinda Kazan, Natsundi Lopting Gozona, Dirisha, Takazan, Sanjiga, any Chuji Pombo de la Kazan, other song, Diche, but the Getish Tons, Sony Tio, but the Ma, Duna Sonayala Gunal, Dua the Chunin and Duetan, Tatuni Ma Dua in Sonayala, and Sumda, and Yanin, Dugre, say, what the Kazan, Dimon, Dugre, Lachi, Dotares.
So I told, just so you know, I told Geshe that since some of you have submitted feedback, then if there are to be any changes, it's better that we get together first with the group, with the inside group, and then if there's any changes, we'll inform you. So if you still have time to submit feedback if you'd like. So between now and then, we're going to continue with where we left. We're in chapter 3, which are the reasons for the presentation of the Buddha's teachings in the 3 baskets. And if you remember, we said that Buddha Shakyamuni gave 84,000 teachings, and that these 84,000 teachings can be categorized into 9, into 12, but ultimately they can be condensed into 3, which are the 3 baskets.
Dirisha, Tati Ma Dusu the Shia on the Tamba, and the Ma Duna Sumgana do the Tatuni Duna, Sumgana do you that you somebody Karakare race on the Kazan, and in Dodi Denanda, and in Dui Denanda, won't be den Sum. Tia, and in Dodi Denas and a lapating, think about things to come there, the Gamia, anything in Joya Tapsen, do take 2 temperature. Chitangitan do the Chomanale. Chama tencho word yana tu temba do chi chani do di denon chi lagu yabata ani laba chirum ji laba mogi chubung chirum la so bi chirum da janju se bi chiru da sanga ji chirum yore din chirum tu tenjo tu jeni ma tenni songe de la du den teni ani laba shirab ga laba o shija gi tuen kari yin min nabar ke bi shirab ga laba tenjo tu jeni tembala or the Karasik doos and Anitela and Mumbi dinners, or the no some the Tirashas.
And the 3 baskets, just like we mentioned, are as follows. We have the Sutra basket, here translated as the basket of discourses, the Sutra basket. Then we have the Vinaya basket, which here is translated as the basket of discipline. And then we have the Abhidharma basket, it's here translated as the basket of knowledge. So you can just keep these the Sutra, Vinaya, and Abhidharma translations. They are the common translations. So each of these baskets concentrate on a specific topic. So here the Sutra baskets presents mainly the higher training of concentration. And I say mainly because it's not that it only exclusively covers the higher training teachings on the higher training of concentrations, but rather focuses principally on this topic. Then we have the Vinaya basket, and the Vinaya basket concentrates mainly in the higher training of ethics. So it contains all of the ethics pertaining to the bodhisattvas and also the tantric vows. And then we have the Abhidharma basket, and the Abhidharma basket teaches mainly about the higher training of wisdom. And so everything that is related to the development of wisdom will be condensed or categorized into the Abhidharma basket.
Teresha, then Kata Jidin Jama Gumbo and Zebi Tanda Ani Dodi Ganganale, Ani Denosum, the Dunare, Ninale, Dunare, Kanikarichin Dugres, and a Jimson Gui when it Dugres, Kazam Dodi Tan Sumoni Jaron, Duch and Juni Gurdo to say Sombanashi Jene, Tandinama, Ane Panam Jen Dudi Tenijane Onita, to do Jimson de la Madawa Gucini, so Tinasungus.
And we also saw in the last line of the first paragraph of this chapter, it says that the reason for Maintaining three baskets is stated by Arya Maitreya, Protector Maitreya, in the ornament of Mahayana Sutras. And he says there are nine reasons are accepted for the collection of teachings being condensed into 203. So there are 9 reasons why all of Buddha's teachings are condensed in these 3 baskets.
Also, the sum the carrier on the sum there. Pangchala to be pa panya which Jawa Matsulata, Dandangara to Jedia Madini Papanguya, Pangchala to be Jim Ten de la Kamada sum. Then it too want to Labgoya, Labjala to be Jim Ten de la sum. Ani Shijala to be Shebrachavi, Shijala to be Jim Ten sum de Jim Ten Mada de sum Jenegu, or in the Yoreson Shat.
And it says that out of these 9 reasons, I'm reading from the text, 3 relate to what is to be abandoned, 3 relate to what in which to train, and 3 relate to what is to be known. So in total, it makes 9. So 3 reasons, 3 relate to objects of abandonment, 3 objects of training, and 3 objects to be known. So 3, 3, 3 makes a total of 9.
Oh, so Tirisha, Tati Tambo, Tambo Sumnesi, Tambo Sumde, Panchala to be Tesum, the Gijum Tesum Tirisha, Tesum de Kari and do City, now some nes, any Tesum new in Yumo Batans, Tesum any new in Yumo Batanis, any Rangitao Chotan Zimbi, Yumo Basum, some Jinyambo Rambash into any Panchala to be Jim Tesum Tinisum do City Cardus with Nachitan. Tesum down, Nivi Numo Batan, Rangi Tao Chot, the Tao Chot, the Dell, Tindi Sum, Rambachendo, or Tini Papanguya, to so never much Evina, any co, any or Lamla Laviata, any Simpson Doche Balati, Nibar the Supapango, Aresha, so that the Panchala to be the Tesum Gochi, Tesum Numo Bache, Rangi Tao Chot, the Bautosum de. Papaya with the Solatini Labosum Shashas, Adenosum.
So here it says, first, the 3 objects to be abandoned are the following. The secondary delusions of doubt, the secondary delusions leading to the 2 extremes of conduct, and the secondary delusions asserting the superiority of one's own view. Geshe Peche konzola nyewe nyomomba sewe gyumse Geshe kyamna ani pensare nyewe nyomomba.
Odrisha, Danati, Tesum down. Then you in your mobile, the new model in Yun, Sanyu, the Yun, see any door. Savin your mobile, Dosha control Ajala, so but the team, my begging you in your mobile, Chitan, San, you should do it. Or the Tisu, the two, not to Simpson Namji, my Mashiwachin took the Yomo Yonamina Kutsu, the Chatigoro, Kutsu, the new in your mobile city, Nevasia, the Gary do city. Savin your mobile control and Dosha control Ajala, so but so they are never you think. New Mumbai in Bichani, new in Mumbai, or the King Wichani, or the Tindishagdwa.
So here it mentions the secondary delusions. We can also call them the secondary afflictions. The reason why they're called the secondary afflictions, and it mentions 3 secondary afflictions. It mentions doubt, it mentions the 2 extremes of conduct, and it mentions the superiority of one's own view. So the reason why they're called secondary afflictions or delusions is because we divide afflictions into 2 types. So the root afflictions and the secondary afflictions. So there are 6 root afflictions, and from these 6 root afflictions, there are 20 secondary afflictions that arise from it. So like mixing the main colors and then making secondary colors, right? The primary colors with secondary colors. So just like this, we have root afflictions, which then turn into these 20 secondary afflictions. That's what.
Oh, Tirisha, Tatina getting Yin Satina, Chitan, Yin Nishuri, the Dinama, Mingdo Tana, Chitan Troa, Kunzin, and Chapa, Tiban Tatochi, and Sernata, Yugilas of Bagotinichi, and a new Badilla, Katisun, Chitan Nishuri.
And as I mentioned, there are 20 different secondary afflictions, among them things like aggressiveness or jealousy or for example, resentment. All of these are secondary afflictions that arise from the 6 root afflictions. Geshe-la anitila nyewe nyomomba sum ane zo sum lagi doa tenzo re ne jeshe kyamna yang kunzula pensares chingidu.
라서 되게 산년들이 경고 산년에 사위용 받을 샤츠든 저 중공반 저건 안에 마셔도 제나 죽여래 죽 죽도 가르잖아 도차가 지 컨트롤거니 나게르거슴 마릭바게시 대좀거가 되니 따와 어떻게 죽들이 샤스.
So, just so you know, these 6 root afflictions are the following, just as they are mentioned in the text of Abhidharma. They are attachment. The first one is attachment. The second one is anger. The third one is pride. The fourth one is ignorance. The fifth one is afflicted doubt. And the sixth one are wrong views.
어떤 소리 샤스 되니 손장 단디기 잔 대좀당 니비니모 발ab디아가 어떻소 니볼을 파파람지나 손디 단다디 디갑로 손디아가 디바 다기 디 니보 담보 니보텔라 아니 가지 도디데는 어떤 손바리에 세티 손샤스 다다 뜬도 사사요.
Karejo sason Geshe-la tanda nyam denzo.
nyumoda kari mata tombo tesum yeba tini nyi nyumobada tini tawa chom se sum ko nyebola ani danda deno sum de ma tini jin som bare se ji do panjala tube sum
Long.
oti tini sum.
That's what. So therefore the 3 objects of abandonment are here. I don't think it's properly translated actually from the Tibetan, because it says the secondary delusion of doubt and the secondary delusion leading to the 2 extremmost conduct is not what the Tibetan says. So the Tibetan says that the objects of abandonment are 1, doubt, but not doubt being a secondary delusion. Doubt is not a secondary delusion. So first would be doubt, then would be the secondary delusions, which would be, it would comprise the collection of the 20 secondary delusions. And the third one would be the 2 extremes. Let me just check. Yes, and then the extreme conduct, the view of extreme, no, the view, I'm just going to check with Geshe-la. Geshe-la, 단다디 이지기 기울단디 대즈 고차보도 다 벽에단 동기민도 디 인사래 담보 단다 방차 수음 된저 직 대점체 니바 녀원녀 몸바 니주 세기돼
라
단다
nyumoba
방차 수음 된저 가르를 남나 키랑 장나
tombo te tesum je
대점체
이런
되네
tesum de 교제 아니 니비 nyumoba 다기 니 nyumoba 요 티제
단다 니슈 참마 세기돼 녀원녀 몸바 니슈 세기돼
니신디나 마이디 줄무도 니비 nyumo 치고마다
근데 녀원녀모 니슈 요래봐
요니 시요랑
가길라 세기도
니비 치다 좀 잠바나리 요래 단나가서 저 저거다 딘디 몽보나리 요래 단나가서
알레
디뎁티나무도
이나야 녀원녀몬바 데라 녀원녀몬바 치부 창기도 아이네 녀원녀몬바 데 나노라 녀원녀몬바 니슈 두기 두민도
지금 어디 두그래 두나 데레 치다 니비 nyumoba 코랑 그 나올로 두그래 참아 거디
알았어,
또 파pan고야래
아니 숨바 반차
숨바다
숨바
따와래 따와 요 따와다 따민세 따로 따와
따와 촉진
따와 총데 라소베 따와 직다단 탈타세 따와 몽부여 따와 가요래
라서 이나야 딜라 따와 촉진 마도 창임민도
다음 주도 지구리자 주도 다음 주도 진주야 되고 어떻게 니치고래
라서
되게래자
Okay, so I just wanted to verify so I don't give you any wrong information because the translation is not so clear. So the three objects of abandonment are the first one, doubt. The second one, secondary delusions as a general category. So within it, it would include the 20 secondary delusions. So doubt, the 20 secondary delusions. And the third one, here it says the two extremes of conduct. It does not mention that in the Tibetan, but it does mention the view, like grasping to one's own view as being the best. So this is asserting the superiority of one's own view. It's normally translated as the grasping of one's own view as the best. So these are the three. It's a view, right? So one is a doubt, one is the 20 secondary delusions, and the third one is the view that grasps to one's own views as the best. These three.
Dindirisha, Yang Songshan, Dodi Dinji Kap, Pombo da Kamda, Kimchi da Dindi da Dimba Shidan, Denisada, Paru de Chimbala Sopa, Su the Gari, the Dingin Jila, because Leper Stella Pepper Towns, Pepper Tesha. Odi Dagarisena, Dodi Dino Council Karikar, Joja Chicken to Karting to allow the Pombo da Kamda Kimchi, Kata Jes Rosa. Oti da Dembashida Sata Port Chimbala to be dinging lots of subject level 2, the or danger 2 didn't think do and do the no caption.
Lasso. Then it says that the antidotes to those are taught as the basket. The antidote to those are taught as the basket of discourses, meaning sutra, the basket of discipline, meaning vinaya, and the basket of abhidharma, respectively. Then it continues, the basket of discourses, meaning the sutra basket, clearly explains the aggregates, the constituents, the source of experience, dependent arising, the Four Noble Truths, the grounds, and let me just continue, and the perfections, being primarily concerned with the training in meditative stabilization, meaning in concentrations. It dispels wavering doubts concerning the two extremes on the basis of the general and specific characteristics of phenomena. Therefore, the basket of discourses, meaning the sutra basket, was taught as an antidote to the secondary delusions of doubt.
Dirisha, the Dinalin, Dinala, Kasanga, Mother, Pombo the Kamsa Kimchi, Tomato Kadam, and Drishin, Jan Timon Chindore. Then the tendri lab there, the tendri de Chitangato, Chutamchi tendri, Gichi tendri, the Tendri Tamare, the tendri the garden, Tendri ala Juni, Sajian, Tendri ala Juni. Or the Tendri ala Juni, Namsha, Segur, Tendri ala Juni. Tini Demba she said, Dungo Dembatan, Kunjon Dembatan, Gordon the Lamden, the Demba she did it, Tagingola, Demba Nichi Odi mai be demba sheda. Tini sadan lam se dia to ani ya teba chimbo lam ya lam ni drodi tamba ani ko sag nam sha ta tini lam ga nam sha o she ya to so o tini jine ma ten sha si gores.
Here it says that the sutra basket, if you remember in one of our previous classes, we already explained the 5 aggregates and the 18 constituents and the 12 sources of experience. We've already covered that in the previous chapter. Then it mentions dependent arising. And here, dependent arising means the 12 links of dependent arising. Then it mentions the 4 noble truths. So the noble truth of suffering, the 4 noble truths are as follows: the noble truth of suffering, the noble truth of origin, the noble truth of cessation, and the noble truth of the path. Then the grounds and paths. So grounds, here it just mentions grounds, but normally when it says grounds, it refers to the different paths that, for example, a hearer, a solitary realizer, or a bodhisattva needs to go through in order to attain enlightenment. And then it mentions the perfections, which are the 6 perfections.
Dirisha, tini no part chimba chula so ko su the garji the tingin the laba ani kor leper tela papte es tu laba tingin the kor leper tela papte. Tini gardu sena randa ki tingi ki shipchene te da las ta ni so to be tesum sero chebi dodi teno te nani tesum gi ni ta nyomo bati ya nyebolo sombare es o te son sha de ta.
And so here it says that through the learning of these topics, when we study these topics in the sutra basket, this helps us to attain and to develop mainly meditative stabilization, meaning concentration. That's why the sutra basket is normally studied in order to develop concentration. And it serves as an antidote to dispel doubt. So remember, one of the three objects of abandonment was doubt. So studying the sutra basket and putting it into practice is what dispels doubt.
어디 단도디 되는 거 되게 되네 제 되는 이바든 누이 되는 까부 가르치기래 저기 누이 되는 거라 다 못상바 줘봐 소세 아니 다 먹이어 주 못상바 줘봐라서 비가 다 아니 가르도스네 세콜 넘버 zambo so 친하기 도발라 차과소 카나마토 니 카나마투이 니촌 탐체란 주바 카피 아니 도바 소님이 다시 Pochik Songudu, se Takaridu Sena Tikapsu Magichu Pongi, Magichu, Lasopi, Lasopatang. Tini Matsu Sayata, Kuetang, Kuema Lasopi, Chinangi, and Doyo Karikari, Nadilla Hajanga, Ani Dobachet, Ani Chapa, Dochaka. So Kanamatua sitting in Yomogo Mingresha, Kanamatua, and Magi Mingrish and Magioga. Mingrish, or the Nature Tamchel and Jupa the Park Kani, copy, and Tigarches and Dinamatuna. 아니 도바 손님 김 타세야 판타 치샤니 딘 타도 바까고도시.
Then it says, so we've already seen the sutra basket. Now we're going to see the Vinaya basket. So here it says, the basket of discipline or the Vinaya basket prohibits engagement in all prescribed misdeeds, such as sexual misconduct, attachment to external and internal sensory objects rather, such as good food, clothes, and dwellings, which when one is subsisting on alms, is an extreme of desire. However, if one maintains the immaculate ethics of renunciation, it is unnecessary to exert effort to obtain wealth and so forth. When one has the ability to curtail strong attachment, one is permitted to make use of even luxurious clothes, food, dwellings, and so forth. If one then imposes austerities upon oneself, it is an extreme. So the basket of discipline was taught as an antidote to the secondary delusion, leading to the two extremes of conduct, because it reveals the antidotes to both the extreme of austerity and the extreme of desire while subsisting on alms.
어딘 다치지? 양 가르치기도잖아. 민족의 주름 넘버 따바다 덴치 아니 니바 소 같이 딱 배수지 좀 먹고 봐스. 데라 롱큐비 체 차신 잡은고 니베 님보라 가라 님보다 담바남라 아니 가르치기도잖아. 그당 카제당 컴파소 신든 정보 정보를 양 아니 롱큐브라 나미나 아니 다니 날신 떠발라 주르윈 타니기 님보 템비 아니 두비데는 때 교초진 타니라 아니 주르윈 니위 뇽모베 님보 송바레 송샤 다티 가르치기 도시디 민중의 처럼 나버다바치다 댐비고네 아니 양치 롱초라 하장게 제 구다야 대상 캄발라서 하장게 냥올을 냥발라 되는 초된다 가리차리나 두고 놓치치 점보다 뜻은 탈 마시고 돼 먹어봐 양소소가 semba간에 하지 자신 시고 좀 마존나 아니 딘디를 롱초 쳐보고 딘디 나와 되나샤도스.
So here when it says, however, if one maintains the immaculate ethics of renunciation, it is unnecessary to exert effort to obtain wealth and so forth. When one has the ability to curtail strong attachment, one is permitted to make use of even luxurious clothes, food, dwellings, and so forth. If one then imposes austerities upon oneself, it is an extreme. So here it's telling us that through this practice, the practice of discipline, the practice of ethics, then we will be able to enjoy whatever we have, whether it's clothes, whether it's housing, whether it's our car, whatever we have, without these two extremes. So the extreme of attachment or the stream of going through many austerities.
그래서 돈다다마 돈 주나 수시 돈다 맞추 뒤나 가르리 지레시디 돈 주나 하시 ziku ne nemar zambola long su kyojang ziku nemo yapo dindi la long kyojang ani chapa da do cha hajang chapa ke mayong na myo wa da chapa da ani japa la su de hajang pa ji thobu ro cha ni ji japa da ge ta ro ro ji japa se de so ani nyomo ba mche na nyomo ba dindi di ke me na ani khana ma to me bi de le ma kyo da kyo mo cho yo ma re me bi me par kyo ba yin bi sang ji ja na wa yin de o to to sang ji ga na wa re si
Mm.
tila
So, Lasso. So, if we go to the next paragraph, it says to summarize, if the delusions, attachment, pride, conceit, and so on do not arise when one uses good food, clothes, dwellings, bedding, etc., these are permitted by Buddha, and the prescribed fault will not have been committed. So there is no fault to enjoy these things as long as very strong afflictions like attachment and pride and so on do not arise.
tila de karte se tati mai ba tele do te pagi se koron se da ku kari na tu yapo me wa che hale yapo dini me ba yin na kyo bu ro yin na ya tele so so ani control ba ta ani tele chapa ro da dini ke ya da do cha na so ba ta kan thar nyomo ba ke ya ti ke mo bu chi yo na ni ani tele long che cho bu ma re se ni ti ba ka sha se ti kare re na su de kare re na nang bi che se di na ni zu de kare ne zu bu ge yurki ngo de ya da du da long che cho re cho ma re de zu de ka yo ma re de kare ka yo re la na ka sa so so sim che so so le tu de na le nyu mo ba ma bu che ya ge kin chi yo na te che na ti ma re na ti ma che na ko ya ko ina ya ko long che che na di ge re se yo zu de ni je na so sha se
But then it says, however, if attachment, etc., increases when using meager food, ragged clothes, and the like, then a fault prescribed by the Buddha will have been committed. So the principal concern of such permission and restriction is solely with the increase or decrease of the delusions, of the afflictions, desire, attachment, etc., within the mind and not with external objects. So here what it is saying is that when Buddha prescribed, like when he says that this is allowed or this is not allowed in terms of material possessions, is not in relation to the object. It's not that the object is naturally good or naturally bad, but rather if it serves, if having or enjoying these objects serve as a conditions for oneself, for one's own attachment or other afflictions to arise, then these have to be diminished. These have to be diminished. However, if you enjoy these things, and these things, no matter how much you enjoy them, it doesn't give rise to delusions, then it's okay to enjoy these things.
어딘데서 티니 주 낭비 최 제시리 최 제야데 주 가르 정도라디 낭 셈베나데 셈바 주니 셈바 마디어서 뉴모다 니위 뉴모 바타기 랍디아 딘지 주소 모부야 끼야가 딘지 켄치요나 참마체는 그 말에서 파카야다 때 양니 양도 먹기야 탑실을 빼야도 주체니 파카야 다 되네 되니 아니 가리 용어 두세나 주도 때려샤데 니바디 가는 가르 두세나 아니 신이 아니 취그 정우보던 그거 아니 코kinchini 양수수 semba 주야라 소바 딜리 치요나 어떻게 디 제라 니르마 니바디 가는 거니 지용우보도 수 많이 맞아 수도 가르서 낭 셈가니 규주 잠니 디조고야 돼 수디 가는 송도 낭비 취에나 수디 가는 거도
The Buddha Dharma, Buddhist teachings, are a method mainly to work with our own inner mind. So to put any restrictions, any of the restrictions within the Buddha Dharma or the ethical discipline, is just a method to try to diminish the arisal of certain afflictions within our minds, and it's not in relation to the object itself. So if we see that enjoying certain objects does not serve as a condition in our lives to give rise to these sort of afflictions, then the enjoyment of them is fine, because the main point is to use these as methods to try to keep our minds from giving rise to afflictions.
딘디레 샤데 딘이 기당게네 지용우보도서 지용우보수 우승라고도서 잠마다서 주니 스스도 니바 냠뽕치니 딘이 지원도 담발라 하장은 니바 첨보소니 따딘이 소디에 따다 체리바서 소니 하장가 소직 3일로 모션지라 딘이 니바 첨보다 야고딘이 소니 소초자니 딘이 소투고 요레스 이나야 델리 Tele top chiani ji kar du sena nang semba gyurchu jamni tintiwo ani koi chokchik de niba drene chik zotu yana tele hacham gyagir tongjur go pedi niba chenpo tang ani pa ngaso tanda ngoni tanda chik tini chik semga niba chik ko matu ani nyomo bato hacham maadang jenga diga semde shik top chenpo zotu mudu mato te chik zotu ba yana hacham ga top shik chenpo yakbo chik zoya ten yore se o te su chik ngaso chö labdi ani gyurchu tangwa da zoa la zikere se ti su di tu kar zogu ni nang semba samlo zogu do zoya dile tini chile chö se o te sik dos.
Because if we think about it, no matter how powerful, like for example, with the development of technology, science is able to develop objects and machines that are able to, and technologies that are super powerful, that are very, very, very powerful. They are conceiving and producing and making objects and technologies that were totally unthinkable years ago. And now there are technologies that can perform certain types of functions that were totally unthinkable years ago. And they're very, very powerful. However, no matter how powerful we make technology to be, our inner mind, if we're able to work with our inner minds, if we're able to fix our inner minds, and this is actually the meaning of Dharma. When we talk about Dharma, the word in Tibetan means, it has the connotation of meaning something that we fix, something that we change, right? It's in relation to fixing or changing our mind. So if we fix our minds, if we change our minds, then our inner minds can be way more powerful than any external technology that we can ever develop.
Oh, tindi indi samba ta yani nang samlo di ya chot da nang aso tesi nyunyu da kumbo indi toso drita mara ta topsi cheri tani o tinga to chengu bukari ina chikko mara tani ko niba cheri tani do tindi ra usoni ani samba ya shoti chamta nyingji se ado tang ani sherap se so hajang ta chibu sherap se to pek ke chimbo o sherap se di ripi teba kyaba cheni ani kam mishipa tamche pa seni o shiba chasona tini ani kari ina ya che tumge tang tini chagres.
All of the positive mental states within our minds can be infinitely developed. So, for example, aspects of our minds such as love, such as compassion, such as wisdom, these can be infinitely developed. Whereas this is not the case with the negative mental state. So we can develop our minds. Our mind has an immense potential.
어딘지로 저래서 가서 잠다 잠바다 아니 가서 sem거 저비 sem거 한신라 요된게 잠바다 세와 생게지 요래 디마 파치 소차 sem당게 소차 인친제지 저비가 semle 잠바다 세와 그랑시 또 니니 메사티니 파치 요 말이지 이네야 텔레다 데스 코나 깨떡고다 깽게 가리나 치중이 잡으러 마보 요래지 디양 칼레야 곰니 베니 페로이나 아니 전부 하자 전부다 니지 전부 드리게하고 아니 디게하고 시탄으로 된 가서 소차 탐지를 누스.
In fact, our minds, all of our minds, are of the nature of love and compassion, meaning that there's probably no sentient being that does not have these mental states as a basis. However, of course, there is a huge difference with regards of how much we've developed these inner mental states, such as love and compassion. Some have greatly developed these mental states and some have barely developed these mental states. However, since they are the nature of our own mind, it is present in the mind of all sentient beings, which means that we all have the potential, we all have the ability to continue developing these mental states, which are already naturally present there in our minds.
어디를 상가도 니제 냠내 지하고 니제디야 가르세나 젠지라 아니 가르도세디 둥가식 전보단 최대요나 디당 타나 때때 콜레 메바 차나 냠비울로 디니지라 니제세기 요레스 디니 니제데 아니 생 심첸 탐체라미 니제 쳔보지 깨고나 가르고 두세나 쭈 동보 아니라 라니기 길라 둥가식 전보레디 아니 간디스 아니 디당 muso bata tela trana nya biblo country chi yobate o ti ja na ji generation simchen la ani chikpare nga dungar moto pa ina khoya dungar moto pare kono ko tanga chu tanda ne kablu je yong dia so so chokpo chokmo ina so so pinja nyebo tinila dunga shi chembo yong de te ya ge tapshi la karina rokpa cheni ani yutu ya da hajang so so pete chokpo pete tewa sem tapa nyebo ji na tiga dunga saya tonta su kari ina kale jab tunge dindi mambu yung tonga do dindi rawo chene tiga lo to pa ja kene semchen thangma lo pa kyam kene che to ina o tele ninji chembo o te o dindi o shaga yores.
The mind of compassion is a mind that when it meets suffering, it feels a very strong wish to eliminate, to dispel that suffering. And this is felt in relationship to one being able to identify one's own suffering and realizing that just like when I suffer, I don't wish to suffer, others are the same. Others don't wish to suffer either. Just like I don't wish to suffer, others also don't wish to suffer. And when there's a loved one that is suffering, we can clearly see that we're able to go to very to extremes in order to try to dispel others' suffering if they are a loved one. If we're able to develop this courageous mind that is able to make an effort and to strive to dispel the suffering of the ones I love and expand that mind to all sentient beings, this is what we call great compassion.
o dindi chiri shade cham ninji sena dindi chiri shade ta ninji ga ta nyamdu ani chamda ninji se ga chamba la ya de kare ji yore se di chamba se ya de ta gi dile ninji le te sam manda wa de ga namba kare yore se di ta gi di ninji de dungar ma jo na nyambulo dungar ma jo na dunga de meba chana nyambulo de ta kare yore chamba se di dewa ta de na mi de dewa ta de na dewa ne kibu ji da dewo ji yona sam bi ulo chuma ma imba ji la dewa se gi re se o tinni nangbi chu na pe ta chimbo ji ro so de chamda ninji se ni de tindri ji re shas.
Then we have another mental state called love, and love is slightly different from compassion, because compassion focuses on others' suffering and wishes to eliminate or dispel other suffering, whereas love focuses on others' happiness and is happy for others' happiness. So this is the aspect that love takes, and these two mental states of love and compassion are two of the most valued mental states within the Buddha Dharma.
So teni da kama chuni chuchik ma dum do de chwa tlen de yona chwa yona chwa jina.
So now we're going to go on to questions. There are already a couple of questions here in the chat, so I'm going to go directly to them, and then if you have any more questions, you can ask those questions. So the first question says, the book states that the basket of discipline, meaning the Vinaya basket, prohibits engagement in all prescribed misdeeds when on alms. So is it not prohibited when not on alms? Okay. Tachiwa tambodi karela gidudana. Dana due denu de la shun karela gidulana. Due denu kab mitsawar cheba sodan segu nemel sambo so chidanangi deba la chaba so kanama toanye jun tamchela juba kabe deba ale sonnyongi kapsu sonnyongi tada ra da sonnyong chebe kapsu di cheji tenso sama chi chogiyo mare sungra danda di shung nalola duwe denu kap mit sambar cheba sokta segu nemel sambo so chidan nangi debala chabaso kana matowe nyegyun tamchela juba kakwe deba sonyum ki tada sungidwa danati sonyum chebe kapsu segidu
ladana sonim je gad karchis
gishla kuide
go to sonim da ngene ngindi cholo ton de mega chas sigbi
Leso. Ta shungi, ta sonyo chebe kapsu, tanda denso tsama che chogi mares, ra. Mitsambar chöbala soba sögö nemel samboso 진안난기 되발라 잡아서 댄서 참마치 저기 말이스 이는 소년 마체베 가서 대 저기를 왜스
때 지나니 다기들이 내가서 다기 담보라나 시래 아니 지금 소년 집에 가려이나 야래 제 하장 제 소바 제 야고든지 로야당 그이나 하장든지 야고든지라고 갑들든지 농을 갑들 때라 하장그 착받은 도차든지 식침보 맞게 이는 나나 니는 저는 지그레스 아니 뭐삼바 껴봐서 지당 그 전에 아니 뭐 겨와 주세요 지당 그 전에 뭐 줘버리샤스 가리나
So it depends the answer to this question. So here it means that whether you're basically when it says when you're not on alms, it means that you're begging. So before the monks and the nuns used to beg for food and for clothes, right? And here it's talking from that perspective. And when they used to beg for clothes and for food, if sometimes they would receive very good clothes and very good food. And what here it is saying is that if they received very good clothes and very good food, it's okay if they do not, if that doesn't serve as a condition to feeling a great deal of attachment. If you receive good clothes and good foods, whether you're begging or not, and you don't feel attachment, then it's okay to receive those. But if you feel a lot of attachment, whether you're begging or not, then it is not okay. However, there are certain things that are not okay, whether you're begging or whether you're not, whether you feel attachment or whether or not, such as, for example, sexual misconduct, right? Which is one of the things that are mentioned here. Sexual misconduct or any of the 10 non-virtuous actions are not to be practiced, whether you feel attachment or not, or whether you're begging or not. Rika, this answers your question?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Rika, your voice has changed.
That's Vincent.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Vincent. Okay. I'll go for the second question then. So how to find a balance between doubt, and blind belief, meaning blind faith? So meaning that doubt is, you're saying that doubt is a good thing because it makes us question things. And here in the text is saying that doubt is something to be abandoned. And if we abandon doubt, then we'll fall in, it's the danger of falling into blind faith. Is that what you're asking? Is that where the
Yeah, like this direction, because Buddha always asks us to test the gold and to like, nah?
Yeah, I understand. Okay. 그래서 단다 딜라 방차송 나네 대좀 요래봐 대좀 칙도아 이나야 제다 대좀 여보 요래봐 단다 상계 쳤는데 거랑 아주 거랑이 숨바델라 따치 시위 최고래 숭 요래봐 아니 대좀 여바디 야보 시기도 아 대좀 매나 아니 몽데 자기냐가 요 말이 왜 대좀 빵나
정말 대충 것이 전에 개발치고 요래도 이나양 이게 대충도 매번 맞춰봐도 개발치고 요다 대충도 반 매봐서 빵고 요래 예 딘디가 단다 담보 대충 개니 개발치고 있고 유담 제발은 지기도 약고도 하다 이나양 디 개발체발 때니 대충도 매봐서 고요래 세고 요래 디 세고디 담반은 대충도 빵세 디 자르 요래 아니 지당이 전에 대충 해야 돼양 맞아 자와 가르를 줘봐 이나 대좀도 마부지사 되나 양디 발치 지기래도 누치 마부치기래 어디 손다 대좀도 봐 지당 마방자다 매버서 고야래 이나 양 딘지 가시 겐 진짜 체네 양고 담보 겐 지야 되니 펜토 요레스
So doubt is good at such a certain point. So at the beginning, to have doubt is very important because it makes us question things. And here when it says that doubt has to be abandoned, it means that doubt has to be abandoned once we've analyzed, through the process of analyzing. Because if we keep our minds in a constant doubt, this basically freezes us, right? We're like, we don't know what to do, or we don't know what to believe, because we're constantly on one side or the other, constantly doubting. So here it's not saying that you should just give up doubt altogether. It's saying that doubt is good at the beginning. It serves as a condition for us to question things, and that questioning has to be very deep. So we have to question, we have to analyze and analyze and analyze, but then after analysis, this analysis has to eliminate doubt, because we reach a conclusion. So that is what it means. Rika, that answers the question?
Yes, thank you. By the way, can you give a hint to Geshe-la? When he went from the first basket to the second basket, it would be nice if he would make a break there for questions. So when he goes from one topic to the next, it would be really nice to have an in-between space for questions.
ठीक है. Lasso ta Rika ya di son ani tanda dode denu ne duwe denu ta dode duwe nangacho tambo dode denu cheyimba dene duwe denu cheyimba peche teni parula ani maomba Geshe-la pena cheshi ni min jawa kera dode zamba ani ti parula chiwa chilen tundun chik soba yina peche yabu mendoza.
No.
Di chikche. Tene Geshe-la, tanda sumba di. So there's a third question. Can Geshe-la maybe explain more about the 20 secondary afflictions in the next session, and why is fear not one of the afflictive emotions in Buddhism? That's all. Ta Geshe-la, kera maomba nyewe nyomomba nishu deshe kyaptu sarebe chikche. Tene deshe kyaptu zamba chiwa ngazo chiwa kare yola na kare chine nyewe nyomomba yamena zawe nyomomba nalola jigna di nalola yo marebes kare chine jigna nyewe nyomomba dan zawe nyomomba nalola yo marebesa.
Jikta light namta labdia so tawing chane semganal mombo le dia jire de tikare sidi tawi nyomoda niwi nyomoda ya chi ken shamba chila teni ko semnal ke yo ajire mato ko tawi tambo ni ko ya dungar ke ya gyul ya tambo dungar ke ya gyul ya su rugu ya samare se tiga nyomba da niwi nyomonyam da masha pa mdo se kaisana ko nyomoda tiri wanga tsu kora kesha yu dribudoji dungar re chaze ko
Ale kon jebure gyumare di sungimbe.
oda dodo tiri sha tawi ngaso nyomola ya ti su kar dine semre dungar ta tindi suya ge gyu tindi la niwi nyomoda su tindi la gore tanda ti korang peri dungar gongo gyur chare se tiga su tigre.
So I've conveyed already to Geshe-la about explaining further the 20 secondary afflictions, but he's already answered the why is fear not one of the afflictive emotions in Buddhism. And he said, and Geshe-la is saying it's because afflictions are normally the cause of they're a cause, they're not a result, right? They're the cause for the mind being in an unpacified state, right? So it destroys peace of mind. Basically, afflictions destroy peace of mind, and fear is a result of the afflictions. So fear arises due to the other afflictions. So they are the result of those afflictions. They are not a cause. They are a result. Fear is suffering in itself. So fear is considered a result. It's considered in a truth of suffering, and it's not considered a truth of origin, right? With the truth of origin would be the afflictions. So this is why it's considered a result, and it's not considered a cause.
Thank you. I have to reflect on this and maybe come back to it later.
So Rika khare labson lamna da laso Geshe-la nye ti korla samlo tangi peche nga samlo ta ani maomba nga yangir ti korla chiwa tangi sa. Laso.
Laso ani chutse shiba tata re son dine shamba muse chwa me na azu de samsha ge yin se tamal trash de le tuiches.
Laso. Peche ta tanda chiwa ina chiwa tes chabodu ta tombani gi 동반이 꾸지 제시기하로 치스 디 파리기 티와 치그레 이나야 사니에 가서 랭기암나 직사르베
re di sanyi de jikja tes mabu shena ma de dung mare.
So Parry, I've already asked Geshe your question about the emptiness of emptiness, but since this would take a very long time to explain, then tomorrow we can answer those questions and go through the 20 secondary afflictions. 아니 산이 녀원녀 몸바 손투바이나 곤도라 베제 벤사레사 다 롭산
산이 디간 마 드신 돌라서.
So thank you everyone. We're gonna finish class now, and tomorrow we'll continue with your questions.
좋았어.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
안녕.
Okay.
Thank you.
바이.
Okay.